Bob, more broadly speaking, how important is organized labor from your vantage point, having been with IBW for such a long time? How important is organized labor to a strong middle class, something that the nation overall is kind of challenged with right now?
Okay. Well, if you take a look at it, we're part of the community. We're the guys and the gals that are at the churches, we're at the ballparks, we're doing the soccer teams, we're the Pop Warner team coaches and stuff like that. Our members, by working with our NECA contractors, who are our partners actually, they're not the enemy or anything else, but we cooperatively do negotiations to make sure that our members have fair wages and good benefits. And those good benefits not only affect us, they affect the community because they provide medical care for the whole family. By providing that Medicare for the whole or medical for the whole family, they have dental, eye care. They don't have to worry about going to the doctors, and the doctors don't have to worry about collecting when they're done with their visit. So it's very important for the community.
And not only that, but I would imagine too, as a brotherhood, the union collectively, you're talking about, from a psychological standpoint, it would seem to me a certain amount of peace of mind that comes with that as well.
At times, there's good times and bad times. Work goes up and down. We're in an industry where you work yourself out of a job and hope there's another one to go to. But our members are frugal, they save their money, they do what they need to, and when they retire, they know that they're going to have a good benefit, and they're not dependent upon anybody else other than their pension through that.
Looking ahead, just kind of your vision, if you would, maybe 10 years, 15 years down the line, kind of what do you see ahead for IBEW 440 in terms of change and in terms of direction and growth?
Well, the group is, we've got a young members group that is starting up because as we have the baby boomers retiring, we've got a good base of young members that are eager to participate, they want to be involved, they want to get into the community. By doing that, we're able to work with them, not only with the politicians, but with the school districts, the charitable groups, and everything there. So our membership is pretty well rounded for getting out. And if you look at it, our demographics, 57% Hispanic. Another group, we have the Asian Pacific Rim and the African Americans, if you want to go into certain classes, that take up another 9%. So our local is very diverse, and we can reach out to the community in that way and help out all groups.
Well, my name is Dallas Steer, Dallas Steere.
And Dallas, your title and organization?
Well, right now I'm retired. Okay. I've been retired about 5 years.
Okay, great.
And former president, IBW 440, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since that time, and your presidency with the Union Chapter 440, have you been able to kind of assess some of the changes that have taken place since then and its role in the community at large? We spoke with Bob Frost a little bit earlier, and he was talking about how much growth that he's seen, the growth in membership. Is there anything else that stands out to you in terms of kind of the new day and age and the role that the union plays with its workforce in the community that it serves here in the Riverside County area?
Well, in this high-tech community we live in now, IBW has always kept right in step with that. So for us older members, we're very impressed, and we're very thankful for these young men that have kept right in stride with it. So, and the thing that impressed me was the growth. We grew a lot as a local, and like I said, it's just kind of exciting to be in this great country and to be a member of the IBW, which just worked right in hand with this. So it's been a good life, a wonderful life for me.
Can organized labor play in helping to bring back a strong middle class in this country?
What I have seen is the quality of work, the enthusiasm, and as mentioned earlier, the involvement in the community. I've always been a patriot. I've loved this great country. And I also love the IBW for the great opportunity that it gave to me and my family. And it's been a good middle-class life, and I feel like my whole family has contributed it, and it's because of the opportunity given us. So it's just a wonderful feeling as I kind of finish my years to say, yeah, I was in America, and I belong to the IBEW, and well, just nothing but happy thoughts. You know, it's kind of hard to gather them all together now, but just very happy to be here tonight to celebrate.
John Brown, JOHN BROWN, and I'm Business Manager, Financial Secretary of IBEW Local 477.
What has it meant for you to be a member and, of course, now business manager, IBEW? How significant has that been, not just in your work history, but in your family's history as well, as far as how it's benefited your family?
Well, for me personally, I was working non-union before I got into the union trade and become an apprentice for a few years. About the same time I got married, I got into the apprenticeship, served my apprenticeship, and then I went on, and so far I've had a 38-year career, and in doing that I've raised 5 children, and I've been able to help them go to college and find their own careers out in the world, which has really been benefited. I've had a couple of kids with serious health issues, and having the health program that we have at this time, it helped us through it without breaking our bank. And previous to me being in the union, I had no health insurance, so I was doing the same work. I was doing electrical work throughout California, just like I do now, and there was no health with it. You just had to take it off your paycheck, and it was always burying us, previous to that. So I'm very grateful for that happening.
John, you were saying that you'd worked non-union before joining IBEWs and working as an apprentice. Do you remember the time before, just as you were getting ready to make that decision, or maybe you were faced with that decision, getting ready to take that important step, union membership? What were you thinking at the time? Was it one of those situations that after having done your due diligence and your research and talking to the people that you needed to talk to back then, it was just kind of a no-brainer at that point?
Yeah, it was. I knew of people in the union. I had relatives in the union, and I had relatives outside working on both sides. And since I had decided that I was going to do construction, that was where I had decided to make my living, make my career path. After looking at both sides, talking to people working unorganized and working organized, I really tried hard when I applied for the test to become an apprentice. I studied hard and was grateful to get in.
Tell us how significant it has been in your life, being a member of this organization and what it's meant to you and your family.
Well, when I got out of high school, I went to community college and took all the general education courses, and then I went to work for the railroad. And then I saw some people working at one of the jobs I was at, and they were doing electrical work, and I asked them about it. And it seemed like a great fit. The camaraderie, the brotherhood that they had, the technical skills they brought to it, the training that they had, the lifestyle that they led. All of it together was really attractive to me. It's enabled me to continue my education. When I graduated from the apprenticeship program, I was able to pay for my 4-year degree from Cal State San Bernardino cash. I didn't have to get a student loan. And having accomplished that, then I took the position of training director here, and the rest is history. So the IBW has been very, very good to me, and I'm very appreciative of the opportunities it's afforded me. The opportunities that the IBW apprenticeship program affords are myriad. You can become a journeyman, you can stay a journeyman, which is great. Our guys make a good living. You become a foreman, you become a general foreman. We've got a lot of contractors who've been very, very successful. We've got a lot of our journeymen become teachers. It really is. It's the amount of wages that we can command because of our level of professionalism and skill puts us firmly in the middle class. Our guys are buying new houses, they're starting families. I talk to apprentices all the time. And they're buying houses out in Murrieta, they're buying them up in the high desert, and having 3-4 kids, and it's really enabled them to, in 4 short years, they go from apprentice starting wages to journeyman wages. A lot of our apprentices are foremen as soon as they turn out. I mean, it's amazing the upward mobility they have in 4-5 short years because of the IBW opportunities.
John, John, O'Rourke, O''R''O''R''K''E. I'm with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and my title is International Vice President of the 9th District.
You have an esteemed position with IBEW, International Vice President. So you have a very interesting viewpoint from where you are, from a global perspective. How significant a role does the IBEW play in terms of strength of middle class, but also providing security to families, those members of your organization?
It's a very important role. You know, we're the last man standing. Our job is to go out and uplift the standards for all electrical workers, represented and unrepresented. So when we have gains at the bargaining table for our members, all others outside of our realm, their standard of living comes up. It's very important.
Tell us, too, a little bit, Mr. O'Rourke, about your coming up through the union as well. I mean, everybody's got a history, and I'm sure that you've got an exciting one to talk about. Maybe just kind of some thoughts that let you pause and reflect and think, yeah, this has been good.
It's been great. You know, at 19 years of age, I was given an opportunity to come into Local 6, IBW in San Francisco, served an apprenticeship, and was able to come up through the ranks. I gave service to my local and had great opportunities, learned from some of the very best, had great mentors, great opportunities all the way along. I got nudged into a leadership role and served on my executive board at the local union as vice president, president, and elected business manager, and brought on staff on March 1st of 2012 as a position with the International as an international representative. And then here November 1st appointed international vice president. So it's a bit surreal. I'm humbled. It's a tremendous honor, and I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to all the challenges, and I want to continue the great processes that have been put in place and expand upon this great brotherhood and represent all electrical workers working in our trade.
Across the country, we're starting to hear a lot more talk, and we've heard about it the last several years, but really since the downturn from the economy, the disappearance or the shrinking of the middle class, and we're hearing more and more about it every day, and there seems to be kind of a crying out for kind of a rebirth of that. With respect to organized labor across the country, how important is it in terms of getting that back and the role that both the IBEW play and maybe any particular organized union, any of your associate members or strategic alliances, other organized labor's unions across the country, how important is it to see organized labor once again kind of regain that footing and lead that middle class growth?
It's critical because, you know, there's so many people that get on that bandwagon and bash organized labor. And our role, our job, I believe, in labor is to go out and uplift standards for all workers, those that, of course, we represent and those we don't. At the end of the day, you know, there's a need for unions. Every worker needs a union. We want to be able to bring that to them. And I believe we're on the cusp of a significant resurgence in the labor movement, a rebirthing, so to say, because people realize, and I think the more they see, it's the unions that are out there getting, for workers, a voice in the workplace. You know, health and safety issues we address, you know, elevating the standards of wages and working conditions, and making sure people have health and welfare, dignity in the workplace, and dignity when they retire with a pension and the ability to have health and welfare and some sense of, you know, we're going to be okay in retirement. We're going to be provided for because we've worked for it. We make that promise. We keep that promise. That's what unions bring to society, and it's a good thing.
Mayor Rusty Bailey, City of Riverside, joins us now. And Mr. Mayor, it's nice to have you.
Well, thanks for having me tonight. It's a beautiful evening in Riverside.
A beautiful evening in Riverside, indeed. 75th anniversary IBEW Local 440, celebrating 75 years in the community. And they worked on this very building here, Riverside Convention Center. And it's got to be kind of neat to come in and see this kind of event held where they've done some of their handiwork.
That's right. Well, it takes a team to get anything done, right? And so we believe in teamwork in Riverside, and IBEW has been a great team player.
How important is it to, you know, in this day and age to have that kind of teamwork, organized labor in the community, as far as playing really an important part in the community overall, bringing back the middle class and having that vibrant lifestyle as a middle class, the backbone of the American economy?
Yeah. Well, we want to be inclusive in Riverside, and so we want to have a diverse portfolio of jobs. and we can't just try to attract the high-end jobs, the knowledge-based economy. We want to make sure that everybody feels at home here and feels accepted here. And so making sure that we have that diverse, again, portfolio and opportunities for everyone at every level.
Final thoughts, IBEW's 75th anniversary. What would you have to say to those members tonight? You're not necessarily speaking here, but as a guest here, what would you have to say to these folks who are all gathered here tonight celebrating 75 years of this organization in this area?
Well, not many organizations make it to 75 years. Not many people make it to 75 years. And so congratulations to IBEW for their incredible work that they do every day for our city and for our region and for our country. And so as Mayor of Riverside, I'm proud to have IEB workers working for our city, in our city, and keeping us going.
Mayor Rusty Bailey, thank you so much for stopping by and taking just a minute of your time tonight.
You got it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. With Mr. Tim Sheridan now. He was a candidate for Congress here in Riverside County. And Mr. Sheridan, it's nice to have you here. Thank you so much for taking time out.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks very much for taking the time to talk with me.
IBEW 440, 75 years. Now, 75 years is a long time for any organization to be involved in its community. How important is it to have organizations like the IBEW, organized labor, getting together to help the economic growth in any area?
Well, it's very important, especially an organization like IBEW that's been around for as long as it has been. I think that it's the foundation that is laid over the 75 years that's going to help it continue as we go forward for the next 75 years. It's one of the more important organizations to ensure that the middle class has a good foundation for good jobs in the area.